Got to be by 9:45, so I'm going to be short. I think the drinks are waiting on me. Don't drive drunk. Anyway, if I can hold your attention for a brief time, I want to do something and talk to you from this subject, and it's simply entitled "To Never Give Up." I'm not going to give you a sermon. I didn't bring my Bible, but I really want to give you more of a motivational type subject. And so I want to ask you, no matter what happens in life, no matter what illnesses, side effects come your way, to never, ever give up. And let me start off with a story or a joke. She's warned you, so here's my first joke. These two men were out in the wilderness. One of these men was slow of mind, very slow. He had just gotten out of Turtle Middle State Hospital. He didn't know east from west, left from south, or he didn't know his foot from his hand. He was very slow. And the other young man was very brilliant, very articulate, had degrees all across America. He had a master's degree from Harvard. He had a doctor's degree from Yale. He was everything any academic person wanted to be. And these two men were out in the middle of a hunting trip, and they were 300 yards away from their Jeep. 300 yards away from their Jeep without a gun. And all of a sudden, a ferocious bear comes in their direction. This bear weighs 300 pounds. He can run 100 yards in 3 seconds. And they've got to run 300 yards to their Jeep. This bear hadn't eaten anything in 3 days. And he's looking at his meal. And he's ready to devour these two men. And the smart man takes out his calculator and he starts figuring out ways to escape this 300-pound ferocious bear. He takes out his calculator and he goes through all of his old algebra and geometric formulas. He remembers that the straightest point or the fastest point is a straight line between angles. He goes through all of his congruent angles and mathematical propositions. He's going to figure out how to get away from this bear that runs 100 in 3 seconds. And he has to run 300 yards without a gun. And now he pulls out that calculator and rhythms and figures are falling off of his lips. And then the other man, slow of mind, everybody's fool, begins to take off his shoes, take off his belt, and take off his shirt. And the smart man says, "What are you doing? You cannot outrun that bear. I've already figured this thing out. I have degrees that you can't even pronounce." And the slow of mind fellow says, "I figured this thing out too. You see, there are 2 of us and 1 bear. That bear can only eat 1 of us. I don't have to outrun that bear. I have to outrun you." Knowing that he's now in trouble, follows to his friend, "What must I do?" And he looks back laughing, and he says, "Never give up." I ask all of you to never give up. 20 years ago, you walked across the stage and received your diplomas. You went on out into the world with dreams unlimited. You were going to make this world a better place. Some wanted to become doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs. Some wanted to become brilliant or just school teachers. Some wanted to take care of homes. But along the way, something happened to some of our dreams. And so I encourage you 20 years later to keep on dreaming. Those dreams may have changed. And if necessary, shift your dreams to your children and allow them to understand, to give it all that they can give, and to be the best of whatever they choose to be. Because there's a bear out there, and it's called the world. The bear can be called discrimination. The bear can be called unemployment. The bear can be called backbiting, hypocrisy, lying, stealing, drug addiction, alcohol, and character. The bear has many names. But he's coming after you and your children. And it's up to you to take off your shoes and run for all the gusto you can get and outrun the next fellow who's trying to be smarter than you. And whatever you do, don't be too smart. That was a fellow. Another joke. There was a fellow. 3 men were being taken to the guillotine. The first man went to the guillotine, and he was a doctor. And they asked him, any last words? And he said, yes. Physician, heal thy sick. They put his head up under the block, and the guillotine stopped 1 inch from his head. And they said, that's a miracle. The next man comes in. They asked this man, who was a lawyer, any last words? And he says, always take the pill. The guillotine comes down 1 inch from his head. And they say, that's a miracle. Let both of these fellows go. Finally, the know-it-all comes in. And they ask him, do you have one last word? And he says, you bet I do. If you stupid so-and-so would fix those 2 screws. Needless to say. And don't let the ABCs of life get you down. And I'm almost through. Stop smiling, but I'm almost through. The ABCs of life will always get you down. They go like this. You see, when you were born, your mother took you to an MD, who took you to an OB-GYN. And after you were born, you went to K-school to learn your ABCs. And then you graduated and went to the DISD. And after you got out of the DISD, you went to U of H, UAB, UCLA, or UAB to try to get you a degree or a PhD. After you got you your PhD, your MLD, or whatever your degree may have been, then you decide to get married. So you had to go find you a good-looking man or woman to help you TCB so you could TLC. You started going to bed early in the PM so you could wake up in the AM. And when you woke up listening to KKDA or K104, you woke up and went down to the hallway and took you a cold or hot shower in H2O. You then went down the hallway, opened up your icebox, took out some USDA inspected meat or some AA grade oil. On your way out the door, you hit your light switch from GTE. You went to the garage, you got in your BMW or your GMAC. You got on your freeway trying not to get a ticket from the DPD. When you got to your job, you took phone calls all day long from AT&T. You took your lunch break down in Mickey D. Then you were ready to go home. Then you stopped off on your way home at the ATM, getting you some MONEY from your JOB so you could pay off the IRS while on you. Then when you get to your house, you turn on your TV from your recliner, you watch CBS, ABC, or NBC. You try to catch up with the latest with President BC up there in D.C. or OJ up there in L.A. Then it's time to go to bed. And the next day you're doing the same old thing. Don't let the ABCs get you there. And you've been so nice to cut my speech short with this one word. Never give up. You see, I know a man who tried an experiment 10,000 times. 10,000 times this man failed his experiment. But on his 10,001st try, Thomas Edison hit a light switch and the light bulb came on. I know another man who on 206 consecutive times was turned down for a bank loan. 206 times they told that man, we're not ready for this amusement park. It's too far-fetched. But on his 207th try, they told Walt Disney, go ahead, make you a Disney World. I know another man who 9 times ran for public office. 9 times the American people voted him away from office. But on his 10th try, he decided to run for president. And Abraham Lincoln was real good. I know another man who was kicked out of college and told to never come back. And then when he enrolled in the University of Maryland, they told him not to come because he'd never make a pretty good lawyer. But folks, that good marshal was better than a pretty good lawyer. I know another man who tried to enroll in college but was told that his thinking was too slow. That man finally got into college only to flunk, and they laughed at him. But they didn't laugh in 1921 when Albert Einstein received the Nobel Peace Prize as the most brilliant mind of this century. I know another man, and this man was told by his friends to stop writing that silly book. Nobody wants to read about black folks anymore. Depressed, on the verge of suicide, he kept on writing that book. And his friends did not laugh at Alex Haley when Roots came out. And I know finally one last person who was told when she was born to sit in a wheelchair and watch TV. Sit over there and learn how to walk on crutches for the rest of your life. But that is not what they finally told Wilma Rudolph in 1960 when she became the fastest woman in the world. If your boss does not like you, never give up. If your spies leave you, never give up. If your friends desert you, never give up. If your grades are too low, never give up. To the class of 1976, who I adored in 1974, who my wife wanted to attend your church. I say to you these 3 words: never give up. God bless you.
Good evening, National Fellowship Class of Franklin Roosevelt. You still look good. Why don't you give yourself a hand? Tonight, as we reminisce about our past, renew friendship, and just catch up on again, we would like to take a moment to recognize the achievements of our classmates. George Washington Carver once asked the secret of his success. He answered, it is found in the Bible. It is simple. In all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path.
We would like to acknowledge our classmates who have achieved success in the following field. And before I say anything else, I want to assure each of us we have all succeeded. We've all succeeded. First category is owners of who own their own businesses. Individuals who are self-employed, entrepreneurs. Would you stand?
Yes.
Would you stand? The second group is community service work. Volunteers, public servants, of that nature. Would you see? Yeah. The third category is those of us who have furthered our education beyond a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or a doctorate. Would you stand? The fourth is the field of entertainment. Those of you who are in radio personalities, TV stars, movie stars, musicians, recording artists, would you stand, please? Okay, the fifth group is specialty fields. Doctors, attorneys, ministers, teachers, policemen, financial consultants, CPAs. The sixth is corporate America, managers, president of corporations, office workers, assembly line, production workers. And final is family caregivers, housewives, mothers who choose to support other family members outside of the home.
All of those categories, you mean some of you forgot somebody? Not out of trying to embarrass anybody or trying to put anybody on the spot. Everybody in this room is just that. here tonight is success in his or her own right. Whether you are a housewife or house husband, corporate mogul or window washer, success is not always measured in dollars and cents, but by the will to be the best of whatever you are. The great thing in the world is not so shall please God to call you. I would like to leave you with the words of the late Dr. Martin Luther King. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted or Beethoven composed music or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Thank you very much. Okay, Bobby, you ready to do the robot for us?
No, but we got to do Greg then.
We didn't have anything on them.
Can we get, Greg, Cedric, Paige, Pope?
We got to get Raymond.
And once he look like a movie, when he look like a celebrity.
He does.
Okay, we can guess who he looks like. Stand up, Greg.
I want to say one thing.
At this time, we have special awards by Lynn Bradley Sahia and Ricky Washington.
Greetings to the class of 76. We are here to present awards, and we have tonight 7 categories where awards will be awarded in, and Lynn will read off those categories to us.
Yes, I will. This evening it is so wonderful to all of you. And I'm going to make a personal statement that I did not want to come, but I realized that if I didn't come, what else would I do? Those categories. Next awards are the travel award. That's the person who travels further. Marriage counselor award. That's the person who
It's been married for months. We can go the other way now.
And then that other one would be the lump single. Next category is Grandparents Award. That's the person who loves grandchildren.
20 years, and you got some people in that gap for you, too.
Gorgeous Gray Award. Gorgeous Gray, that's the person who loves gray hair. Distinguished Looking, that's the Gorgeous Gray. Back in the day award. Back in the day, that's the person who
About the same.
Yeah. And then the guess who?
Go to Evelyn Black.
From San Diego.
And our next travel recipient is Michael Crawford.
The next award is the Marriage Counselor Award. Marriage Counselor. I know we all kind of qualify for that when it comes to my work. Tonight we have only 2 people, and they go to. Tonight they go to Nora Hicks.
Next award is the Lucky Single Award. All right. And doing this one, we're going to have to do like an exercise. And,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, with all the single men stand. Single man at this time.
From these groups, we will now present the Lucky Single Award to those 2 deserving singles.